This is Daniel Cerrone, writer of episode 916, Helen Maghi. You're listening to the Blacklist Exposed on Golden Spiral Media.
You're the boss now, Aaron. Bon appetit. Welcome back to the award-winning The Blacklist Exposed podcast. Greetings, one and all. I'm Agent Troy Heinrichs.
I'm so hungry. And I'm Agent Aaron Peterson, and I'm using that I'm a next holiday card. Ifs and buts for candy and nuts. Oh, what a Christmas we'd have. Thanks for joining us yet again for number 172 on the Blacklist. Helen Maghi, written by Daniel Cerrone and directed by John Terlesky. Show notes and other intel for this episode of The Blacklist Exposed can be found at theblacklistexposed.com.
Good one this week.
Yeah, that was good. I love the twist. I kind of like how Aram got the job and also some big cojones.
And then doesn't have the job.
No, he still got the job. I mean,
I suppose.
For a while, I kind of hoping he holds it for a while, honestly. I thought he did a really good job.
I mean, how is it like when you take over for your boss and your boss still works for you? It's kind of weird.
I've had that happen, man. It's a tough life.
Yeah.
Very awkward. Very, very awkward. Where you're like, look, we're still, I mean, we still work together. We worked together for a long time, right? It's all going to be fine. But you got to do what I say. It's like that.
Yeah, you start out working together side by side. One person gets and you're friends, and then one of you gets promoted, and then you're like, well, I got to take a step back because I got kids, life, whatever, and then the other guy gets you, and it's like, it's a weird dynamic. That's why we don't stay at companies for more than 3 years.
I had a person that I worked for that I ended up getting promoted over, and they worked under me, and it's an awkward situation.
Yeah,
because I mean, if you're empathetic, if you're not, it's fine.
Yeah, if you're an asshole, you're just an asshole.
Yeah, I tend to be pretty empathetic. So,
and you tend to be an asshole, but
only on screen, only on the stage. Privately, I try to be very nice and kind and gentle, and I hug people that request it, that give me permission, that give me the okay. Never unwelcome.
You know what, Aaron? In our relationship, I would never lie to you.
Jeez, so weird. I'm just like, yeah, you would. You lie to everyone except Liz, and she's dead. So unless you're standing next to her frickin' her coffin or something, then you're gonna lie. So that was a weird. That was just a weird stance to take. Red, sorry, but we'll get there.
But he still let her live.
He did. It was a good episode. I really liked the episode. Yeah, and I liked how everything played out too.
Yeah, always good to have Dan Cerrone pen in the helm. Always fun times.
Even had some of your lexical ambiguity. We love to throw out there.
And it had lots of good, quippy Red conversations. Like he was full of the soliloquies. Is that what it'd be called this week?
Yeah. If ifs and buts were nuts and candy, oh, what a Christmas we'd have. I like that. I really, really want to put that on a Christmas card. Hey, we got to get to the actual episode. So let's get there.
Yeah, but first we had our profiling question from last week. Who is the leading prime suspect behind Cooper's framing and Liz's murder? And the majority of the peeps obviously are on the Marvin Gerard bandwagon. And then Lou was the next highest vote. I think sadly that's a done deal after this week.
You think that still holds now, or you say no, he's definitely not the guy?
It sure doesn't seem like it's going to be the guy. Lou is out of the equation from where.
Yeah, I mean, Lou made some bad choices though. Lou made some bad choices.
We did have a few other votes for Scotty, Mrs. French, Alexander Kirk, and still some people on the Panabaker wagon, which I think that's also less likely than what it has been. Like the
people that really want Mrs. French just want to be able to say, see, that's Katerina. That's all that is. I bet you money that's all that is. I mean, hey, if you think we've seen her like 4 times as a nanny, and that was last year. We haven't heard a mention of her since. I don't think it's her.
Right.
I don't think it's Scotty either, and I'd love it to be Scotty, honestly.
I mean, even though there was a whole conversation around like, if it was your kid, if you were in my position, what would you do? Would you go scorched earth? I wonder what that meant.
Mm-hmm.
No one actually said that a force we haven't seen yet, which I find interesting.
Not a single person said that, huh?
No, everybody thinks it's somebody that's already been on the map.
Interesting. Okay. Well, we got a question for next week, which I think is very exciting. Who would you rather have in charge, Cooper or Aram? Let the people decide. Who do you think should be running the task force? Cooper or Aram? You got a little taste of Aram? Obviously, Cooper's been running it for years. What do you think?
And we all know, ladies, that you love the wrestler, but wrestler's not an option this week. We want to know specifically between Cooper and Aram. Who is your choice between those two?
Yeah, I would not take wrestler either. Honestly. I mean, he's a Boy Scout, but he's showed many shades of gray himself, committing some crimes here. Hello, brother. And Park, same thing. She's kind of a loose cannon. She might just murder the Panabaker when they're having a closed session, so I don't think that's a good pick.
Yeah, I mean,
Ram's the only honest one left.
No, we got to pick Dembe. He's on the fast track.
Dembe's killed more people than everyone else in the show combined. I don't think he should be running it. He's on the fast track. He should. I mean, by the show standards, he'll be president next season.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
What's
Which
that,
should be
Cynthia?
cool.
Oh, you were vying for that presidency after that senator job? So sorry. Dembe got in there.
Good. That's the kind of guy we need in Washington, man.
So fun.
No more of this nonsense. Oh, you don't want to get something done? Oh, you've disappeared. What happened? Get things done. That's what I'm saying.
All right. Well, before any angels, good or bad, show up, let's go ahead and get into this week's case profile.
Okay, well, we got some decent, if you've never listened to the show before, we do the crux of what happened in the episode, and then we'll break down any memorable character moments. Really, only a few characters had big things happen, but we'll get there when we get there. So here's the episode. We open with Red going through Reginald Cole's office looking for clues. If you remember, he did. He got shot up at that car last episode. Apparently, Marvin Gerard is already gone, or we heard no mention of him during the episode, so I don't know what he's doing. We assume covering his tracks because he's the guy. Just kidding. I don't know, but that's what people seem to think. It's possible. Who is the shooter? I like that they kind of pointed to, it doesn't matter who the shooter is, because they don't seem to think that the shooter is actually the person that did this. Yeah. I would think it'd be cool if it was. I'd love a badass assassin that's behind all this.
I mean, if you're at this point, if you're in the criminal world and you're orchestrating all this through other people, like, you're not going to go out and just randomly kill two dudes.
Especially if you're sitting in the car next to Red at the time. I don't think Marvin Gerard has a motorcycle license. That's what I'm saying.
Random thoughts on Blacklist Fridays.
I don't think he's
Marvin,
got a C license.
Do you have a Class M, a Class D, or Class C license? I'm just curious. Does he even have his lawyer's license? That's really the question.
I have a motorcycle. Random thoughts. I have a motorcycle, and I haven't ridden it in 3 years. I should sell it, right? Should I sell it?
No, you should rectify that. That's the one thing you should have been doing through the pandemic, because it's by yourself and outside. And
do you know why I stopped riding it? Texters. Every time I went on the motorcycle, I almost got hit every single time.
Then that's a fair statement.
Yeah, some idiot is texting every time.
That's why I ride my bicycle in the forest preserve where there's no cars.
That's smart. Yeah, I need to get my motorcycle or my bicycle out. Yeah, let me tell you the bicycle story. If I remember, remind me at the end.
Sounds good.
Because I'm sure people don't want to hear right now. But at the end, if you want to know the bicycle story, remind me and I'll tell you. All right, so who's the shooter? We don't know yet. But what he does find is a key to the vault, to one of the most inaccessible vaults in the world, in Mount Bastion. Okay? And Red has one just like it. That's how he knows, obviously. So the goal for this episode is going after the prize in that vault. Well, Helen Maghi is the person behind Mount Bastion. She set this place up. And she helped the crew, and they're using her name to cut a deal now. So now they both, Red and Helen, have an opportunity to scratch each other's itch. If you know what I mean, and I think you do. All right. Sorry, it's early. So she created an impregnable safe system, and Red needs to help her get to Mount Bastion, PA, and that's what the key opens. So what do you think about this entire setup? I mean, I really thought the whole episode was going to be a heist, and it didn't end up being that, but it's kind of a cool concept. Do you like this? Do you consider her as a blacklister, or do you consider the safe more as the blacklister? You know what I mean?
No, I think she fits the bill for being a blacklister. She developed this entire system, bored out of the mountain and built this for criminals. And it's the MO of Red needs to use another criminal in order to further the information that he needs for whatever thing he's doing that season. So I think from that perspective, she absolutely belongs on the blacklist. And I think that the concept of the whole system itself was fun. Of course, Red's got a vault inside of this facility that just happens to be where they're going. Call it TV convenience or whatnot. But the vault
got a lot of money in there. He's got that Breaking Bad money where it's all on a pallet,
right,
hanging out. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. He probably has an Ozark money too, and has it stuffed in the sarcophagus or something on the side.
Oh, that show's almost over. I'm gonna cry. All right, sorry. Go ahead.
But no, I like the facility. I like the whole concept of the way that they did the heist and the break-in and all of that fun stuff. I think the only disappointing thing was like, really, a suitcase? That's what we were breaking in to get. But I like the whole tenant concept that they had too, where you're locked inside, and if there were in case there was a fire or whatever. So I had that tenant vibe as that was going down. It was kind of fun.
Yeah, I always love anything where there might be a heist possibility. Unfortunately, we didn't get we got a minor heist, but it was still pretty interesting. So the crew moved the container slowly. The crew that actually got busted, they moved this container very, very slowly in front of the camera. I really liked that idea. I thought that was very clever. But they stole 6 crates of RPGs to sell those weapons overseas. And it's also the key to getting Cooper's job back, according to Red, which turns out to be accurate. And then it's heist time, man. Reddington and Dembe are going to be the inside men because obviously they are known. They get in, and Red's got a box there. They get in, and they find a box. Did you like seeing Reddington and Dembe working together in a way, even though they never really seemed to be two together?
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of conversation, a lot of chit-chat between the two of them, but it was nice to hear at the end, it's like, Red, we got to go. It felt like he still cared about Red. And I was like, good old times.
I think he still cares about him, right? And that's going to come back to benefit Red at some point, I have to think. Where the loyalty or the friendship, he lets him go or lets something go in that manner, something like that.
I actually was thinking that when the FBI people showed up the first time, you're like, of course, those are Red's guys. And when Dembe was like, all the paperwork's in order, it looks great. I thought that Dembe would have actually been in on it. And that's why Dembe was the one checking the paperwork.
Oh, there you go. Poor guy can't catch a break in Troy's eyes. He's just like, yeah, it's Dembe. He's guilty. He did this. I mean, but as soon as they were there, we're like, no, that's the wrong guys. And when they said the paperwork looks in order, I'm like, okay, well, I guess not. Because this seems like the most obvious thing. If I was if I was Aram, I would have made some calls. Can I get some pictures? I'm pretty sure they're in the employee directory, right? Like, can I check and make sure these are the guys?
You would think the facility would have enough high-tech equipment that the facial recognition camera would have scanned him upon entry and then set off an alarm.
Especially with an Aram running it,
For sure.
I mean, he's the tech guy, so It's really on him. In all ways. Sorry, Aram. You screwed this up. Well, they get in and they find a box. They thought it was in Tibet, right?
Mm-hmm.
And where it was safe where only 2 people can open it. Red and Liz. Not even Dembe can open it. It's weird.
Cue all the people that say Liz is alive again.
Well, we saw her corpse, so you enjoyed those conversations all by yourself. I'm not joining. All right. Strategy and implementation, intelligence gathering and dissemination. Say that 3 times real fast. Those are some of the phrases on the discs. Basically, we find out that these were the tools. He left some DVDs as tools to take over Red's operation. I just got to say, this feels like the most old school way to teach somebody how to run your operation that there could ever be. Because this is the way, we used to do it.
Well, Red doesn't do the YouTubes. I mean, what's it going to have like, hi, Liz, this is Raymond. Welcome to my YouTube channel.
Wouldn't it be great if he did have a YouTube channel? And he's like, here's how you run a cocaine operation.
This is where you have in-world content, right? So shows that actually do like ARGs and things online. Mm-hmm. I would expect the Blacklist YouTube channel to then make something like this and actually put those actual DVDs online, because that would be fun.
Would be cool marketing, right?
Or at least put them on the DVD box set at the end of the season.
Where it's just Red talking to a camera.
Yeah.
Hey, Liz.
Hey, Liz.
Here's how you work some of these connections and then slowly walks and the camera somehow follows them, but it's very jarring because you can tell it's somebody doesn't know how to work a camera, stuff like that.
Hey,
Just
Liz,
make it look.
This is Teddy.
Yeah.
This is how his animals work.
I know what you've always wanted to know is exactly what I do behind the curtain. So follow me as I take a llama to meet an interrogation. And then the tape breaks, something like that. I think those would be fun. Good marketing. Missed opportunity.
Dear Liz, when you want to drop someone out of an airplane, here's the proper form to exit the airplane so they don't die before they hit the ground.
Dear Liz, I might come up with a stupid plan. Don't follow it. Stay home. Take a nap. It's good for you and Agnes. Oh, too soon. All right, Aram moves to take in Helen. I actually kind of like this, using his Aramness. Red doesn't break his promises, so he's absolutely livid that Aram did this. And now, of course, he's telling Cooper, I can't work with him, and he can't work, or he's telling Aram, I can't work with you. And no, he's telling Cooper. Who was he telling?
He told Aram that he can't work with he told Aram he can't work with you. Aram told him that he can't work with him until he understands right and wrong. And then he told Cooper that he can't work with Aram, and then that's why he wants to get Cooper back in the seat.
Exactly.
But Cooper says, no, thank you.
Yeah, well, hang on, we're not too Cooper just yet. And then McCoy and McConaughey are all right, but they're on Red's payroll. So they're not all right. They're actually double agents. And then it turns out that we find out McMet says Helen did sell arms to extremists. McMet is basically one of the crew that they captured because they killed her son, beheaded him. He was an aid worker, but the state cut off his head. And that's where we get some lovely little asides, but we'll talk about those when we get to Red in terms of the whole parenting
deeper meaning behind it.
And deeper meaning that people don't want to believe. You're proven you can't be trusted and you know too much. What would you do if someone butchered your only child for no good reason? I'm willing to bet you'd scorch the very earth they walk on. But if I were you and you were me, I would never lie to you. And then he does take her to Como. Okay, so that's how this portion of the story ended. I just want to point out, this is very important, I think. The scorched earth, obviously the comparison to Red and Liz, because he's scorching the earth right now, trying to find Liz's killer.
Correct.
Because it's his kid. I'm just saying.
It's his kid.
Yeah. I mean, how do you think otherwise at this point? I don't know, but whatever. So I would never lie to you. That's the part where I'm like, but that's not true. That's just not true. I just don't believe he has lied to many people, everyone except Liz, throughout the entirety of the show. So did that one kind of ring false for you?
I mean, a little bit, I guess, because at the end of the day, you're trying to understand Red and his point of view, because he does things, and yes, they're selfish. We'll just state that for the record. He is 100% selfish because he's trying to make sure he has 96%.
Right. I mean, 4% is, poor you. I'll help you out. As long as it benefits me.
Right. Carry the one.
Exactly. Carry the one.
But at the end of the day, we've talked about it, right? I've come to realize this over time that, withholding information sometimes might be equivalent to lying. And that's what he does with the task force on a regular basis. He lies to the task force and he trusts them. So just because she's a pretty lady sitting across from him, she's going to be like, no, I would never lie to you. Like, it's such bullshit. It really is.
It really is. Yeah.
I mean, for the record, he does value loyalty above all else.
Above all else. Yeah.
So from that perspective, this comment does make sense in that perspective. But at the same time, to say that he would never lie, that's a bold statement. I would try not to lie to you. I would try to make sure you're okay and comfortable, but
it's a bold strategy, Cut. See how it plays out for him. This is another moment that I feel where the show has said, look, we have addressed who Red is, and we're just one more time going to cement it for you, but we're not bringing that question up again because we've moved on. I really feel like they're painting it as clearly as possible that we have moved on. This is who Red is. You either agree with it or you don't agree with it. That's your call. But there has been no indication the entire season, even though we had one every few episodes before this, that there is going to be any difference to what we already assume Red's fate person is, who Red is.
And I think that these conversations are put in place now for that exact reason, because they're assuming that you all saw what was the answer, because I think everybody agrees that Red is not Raymond Reddington, Elizabeth Keene's father. I think that they finally cemented and figured out by the end of season 8. So when you have this, this conversation does not work in writing style story if you don't sit there and go, oh, she's literally giving them this as a parallel message so that he would understand her plight. Like, otherwise the dialogue doesn't work. The dialogue is specifically there for that reason, to say, hey, you're doing the same thing I did, therefore cut me some freaking slack. And he's like, but okay. Because he gets it. He understands.
Yeah, he does get it. Yeah, he does get it. Even Weechi gets it at this point.
Yeah, she does.
What are you going to do? All right. Well, now we're going to move into characters and kind of break down some of the character moments.
Well, first up, we have our music for the episode. And while Aram and the team walk through how to penetrate the mountain, we hear Rise Up by Greenwood Rhythm Collection for our heist music. When we hear that heist music, you know it's coming. And then at the end of the episode, as Red and Cooper sit at the table, we hear If You Have Ghosts by Chelsea Wolfe. And you can get both of those songs over on the playlists on Apple and Spotify. Links to both of those playlists can be found at theblacklistexposed.com.
I don't know why Penetrate the Mountain just made me giggle like I was in high school.
I mean, I wrote it that way for the joke, but thanks for pointing it out. I was just going to let that one slide by.
Oh, my God. All right. So, characters this week. Dembe has really not much to do except the old Dembe stuff, which is hanging out with his boy and going into the mountain and just being his essential bodyguard. I kind of wish they had played with that a little bit more and had a little bit more back and forth with Red and Dembe in this episode, just because they were actually kind of working together for once.
Yeah, if they would have had a conversation or something.
Something. I mean, just something a little bit more layered than really nothing new. You know what I mean? Because they actually had private time, which they haven't had. Because every time Dembe's talking to Red, Weech is always there. And this is a private conversation they can finally have, you know?
Agree.
I would have liked something there. I feel like the characters would have had something there. Then we got Lou, who agreed to testify against Cooper, even after Cooper was not going to do that to Lou. And it kind of screwed Cooper's deal. So, did you understand this, that Lou was going to walk otherwise, or was he was still going to jail, but this is the only way he can avoid it? That's the way I understood it.
Yeah, the whole kind of concept was a little bit weird because it was a matter of, he was like fine, then the bail was set, so as long as he got out on the bail, then Cooper was fine until the arraignment. But then because Lou was going to give up some information, that basically put Cooper behind the 8 ball, and he was going to be screwed either way. So he had to take the deal.
Had to take it. Cooper and Charlene debate over the lies she told. And, you know, she seems like she's in the right framework of, you know, a good relationship. Like, she has a good relationship again with Cooper, which is nice since they had all the ugliness before. So it's nice that they have a relationship, and Cooper's being very, very honorable about not telling lies, which is funny because he's ran this task force for a long time, and you'd think lying would be fine by now.
And I like how Charlotte was pointing the...
Charlene?
Charlene was pointing the conversation back to Agnes. Like, hey, we agreed that we were going to take care of her, and we were supposed to do this for Liz. You over that conversation. So it seems like they're in a good place.
Yep. I like that bail is at $300,000, but it doesn't matter because Cooper takes a deal. So, you know, even though the bail is kind of high, he's going to be all right. And it was going to be 2 years, but his career would still be over. But instead, he doesn't get his deal. They were actually going to go a minimum of 5 years because of Lou's ass. Even though I kind of get where Lou's coming from, I don't harbor ill will against Lou, even though it's really your fault. You're the one that wanted to hide evidence. He didn't ask him to do that. Should have recorded that conversation, by the way, Harold. Jeez. So now he's back into it. And we do get a very cute Harold and Agnes moment before a bigger one where he talks to Agnes. And I really liked both of those moments. I really enjoyed seeing Harold kind of be the dutiful and honorable father and admitting his fallacies and his mistakes and owning up to them, because too often I think even as parents, we don't do that or see that, especially on TV. It's nice to see people admit, I was wrong. I did the wrong thing. I have to pay a price for it. Panabaker got a postponement for a month to finish investigating. So Cooper reassumes his command. We're going to talk about Aram here in a little bit, but I'm just kidding. He didn't actually assume control. He's just there. He's an agent now. He's a lackey. He gets to be Aram for a while, except I'm sure he doesn't have any of the technical experience.
But I think this is going to be fun for the show.
I hope so.
Because
like that,
Cooper,
you need a shake up like that, right?
Cooper, go out in the field. Cooper, go investigate this. We get to see Cooper be a cop.
And plus, I like Aram basically in total South Park style, assorting his authority. He's just like, no, we're not going to do that. Red, I'll tell you I'm doing it, and then I'm going to just call what do they call it? Call an audible. I'm going to call an audible, and I'm going to take her into custody regardless. Ha ha. And of course, Red's going to dupe me because I'm not really checking the paperwork the way I should. Damn it.
Hey, I think maybe jump into Aram, and then we'll come back to Wrestler and Park. Since
I can get right through Wrestler. It's really easy. He agrees it's Aram's turn. That's all he does. Park acknowledges Red really runs things. Also accurate. Now let's go to Aram. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the one thing about Aram that I find very interesting is the whole bringing her into custody, because he didn't tell anybody on the team. And I'm just like, is that the right thing to do as the leader? Is that the wrong thing to do as a leader? Like, sometimes this is that whole withholding information thing. Like, am I withholding that information because I'm protecting the team because it was my decision as the boss? Or is it bad that the team doesn't know because they're supposed to be a team?
He's the boss. He's running the task force. I think you have to make decisions that you think benefit the group, and they don't always need to know. I don't believe everyone on your team always needs to know every decision you make. Sometimes you make decisions based on what just needs to be done. And that's what he did. He made a decision based on what needs to be done. And it did. And he was actually trying to, kind of like as parents, we have that, and as bosses, you have that need to protect those that are under you, because you want to shield them from any ramifications. That's kind of what he did. I mean, I think he did it for the right reasons. He's like, look, if I tell you have culpability, I don't want Red to come back at you. I want to be able to say with complete and total honesty, this was all on me. They had nothing to do with this. If you have a problem, come after me. Because he's a guy that goes after people. I mean, he doesn't take being duped very easily. You know what I mean?
Right. Agree.
So I really love this concept. I really loved Aram taking over. I thought they did his character real justice by doing it. He wasn't just a lackey for Red, which I was kind of worried about. I thought like he'd just do whatever Red told him, because he does have moments where he seems a little,
like a pushover.
Yeah, a little bit of a pushover. I don't necessarily think pushover so much as, feels threatened. Like, I don't know, does he have the backbone for that job? That's a big job.
Yeah.
And he does. And now we know. And I like that.
And I can't wait till season 10 when we see Park in charge, because everybody has to be in charge at least once.
And she just orders a full-on assault of everybody. Like, she just orders the murders of random people. I can see that. Panabaker, you eat life or life eats you. Bon appetit. Great line. Great. That whole section was great. Harold is, of course, firmly placed in the legal system. We know at that point, right, that he's going to get his job back at some point. Like, did you ever for any second think Harold's actually going to do jail time?
No, I never thought he was going to do jail time.
Yeah, no, neither did I. Not at any point did I think Harold Cooper's going to do jail time.
I mean, he might have been running a desk for a few weeks or something, but never going to jail.
No, I mean, isn't his job kind of a desk job? Now he's going to be in the field. I hope we get him in the field.
Yeah, I think
that'd be fun.
I think him being badass, chasing down people, running down stairwells, hands, like Liz used to do back in the day.
Absolutely, I think that would be great. Please make some Liz-style decisions. That's what I would like to see. Just make some bad calls and just inflame the audience a little bit.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Maybe look at Red a couple times and go, "I love you," and then smack him.
Oh, can you imagine the Cooper eye roll? I just can't wait.
Oh, bring back the eye roll. So apparently Red's plan is to backdate an undercover document, make it look like Cooper was undercover, which would give him some coverage from any legal liability. And then she's like, "Nah, I can't do that." Then he starts hinting at her compromises and actually says, "I thought you were helping me. Have you met this dude? Like, seriously, my God. Even if he was helping me, I would never have a conversation with him where I admitted culpability to anything."
Correct.
So, nope. Like, what are you talking about? What do you mean I'm having a guy tortured in the next room? We should stop that. That is wrong and illegal. Wink, wink. Nod, nod.
Right. You should walk
And then
into
you
a room
high-five
assuming that every single person you know is having a conversation and it's being recorded.
Exactly. So that's on you, Panabaker. You're not a very good senator. I'm just saying. So he also recorded her crossing that line, and you hear the screaming in the background, which is a nice touch. Wish we would have heard a goat make some noise or something, or whatever the animal was at that particular juncture, because I don't remember. So Aram, we talked about him. Weecha very much is still present. She's become, Dembe number 2. So
yeah, it was kind of nice to see her actually go find what was his name? Mirta, the guy that was one of the people part of the team. Mehmet. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mehmet.
And she's the one that just went ahead and did that and then came back and said, "Hey, I found the problem. Here you go." So it's kind of nice to see her doing something on her own rather than always being just a, background image for Red when Red's in the picture. Fleshes out her character a little bit more. It might be more interesting.
Absolutely. Like Weecha. We also learn quite a bit because of Weecha and Red's conversations that he still misses Mirza quite a bit. Aw. Well, now we're on to Red. When Red finds out that Aram's running the task force, you can just tell. You can tell that he thinks this is going to be an easy gig. Like, this is Aram. This is easy. I got this guy.
Yeah.
He's wrong. I love that.
I'll just make him pull a gun apart and put it back together and threaten to shoot him with it if he's not done.
Exactly.
He doesn't do the things I want him to do.
He makes her, tells him, "Don't follow the path. Go where the path not leads." Go on, Aram. Take some chances. That's basically what he's saying. And he makes a lot of references in this episode to moral relativism. And I want to explain what that is. Moral relativism is the view that moral judgments are true or false only relative to some particular standpoint. For instance, that of a culture or a historical period, and that no standpoint is uniquely privileged above all others. So it's...
So explain that in English now rather than the Wikipedia definition.
You explain it in English. I just explained it in English. I don't know what your problem is. Son of a...
You're the one that took several classes and stuff.
I'm just... Okay, think of it like this. If a person believes that abortion is morally wrong, then it is wrong for them. But if someone else believes that abortion is not wrong, it is not wrong for them. So you can look at it that way. That's moral relative. It's based on your specific set of circumstances, and that's what you base your morals on, but it might be different for other people. Basically, what Red's morality is different than what Aram's morality is, because he is a different subset of life experiences or culturistic views that kind of form his particular look at life.
Which comes out obviously in their last and final argument when he's basically saying, like, unless you can learn how to bend the rules, we can't work together. And
right.
He's like, if you don't understand the difference between what's right and wrong, we can't work together.
Because they both have a specific viewpoint that the other is not understanding.
Correct.
And doesn't want to budge. So there you go. There's more relativism. It's kind of nice that was a concept that was brought up and we come back to several times. So that was interesting.
I mean, it actually really kind of plays into the end of the episode too, when he's sitting there across from Helen and they're talking about, like, what would you do? And I wouldn't lie. And that kind of same kind of conversation, right? Based on her morals, she's like, I'll do anything for my kid. And Red's like, I'll do anything for my kid too, including lie, just not to you.
When he's talking to Panabaker, he references, I did help you, but now you can help me. And of course, you son of a bitch. Okay, but then you didn't know my father. I like that.
Yeah.
And now there's a bunch of people somewhere on the internet right now trying to see if Panabaker ever talked to Dom.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. Enjoy that, because even if she saw him, doesn't mean she knew him.
Correct.
Because, lexical ambiguity. Why are we still talking about this? All right. So, envies Harold.
Well, you're still here. Go home.
We find out at the end that he envies Harold. I really like this end scene between Harold and Red. I think it's a really, really good scene. I'm a guardian angel and an angel of death all rolled up in one. Will not work with anybody else. Doesn't trust Aram, which is wild. I mean, you could say, I don't think he's going to play by my rules or whatnot, but don't trust Aram. Aram is the most trustworthy
person,
guy.
for sure.
Yeah. Which Cooper, I thought, handled it great. Cause he's like, no, that's on you, man. He's the best guy. So he deceived him, the kind that gets people killed, which Cooper rightly points out, that's how you do everything, man.
Yeah. Is business moda operandi 1.1, right?
God, of the irony, the absolute irony. And of course, Red says, I have to operate this way, but I'll consider your words. That was probably the biggest surprise of the entire episode.
Red is going to listen to another person?
Yes.
Do something that was recommended by somebody else?
We finally have Red listening to another character and actually contemplating what they're saying. All right, man, I'll chew on that.
Which we know is true because he would never lie to the person on the other side.
Apparently. Yeah, apparently we're starting that now. He doesn't lie to anybody now. That changes the whole game.
Everything from this point forward is 100% true. Every time he opens his mouth.
Why would you never lie to Helen? We don't even know who Helen is. We barely know Helen. Why would you not lie to Helen? That's just wild. And then we end on good night, Raymond. Good night, Harold. And I really I love that ending scene. I just thought it was a really nice scene where you got a lot of Red and a lot of Cooper being Cooper, and you got some honesty there where, Cooper's basically defending Aram, saying, hey, he's going to do a great job. Don't you doubt him. And I actually was happy that Aram was the guy chosen too, by the way.
And if there was ever a moment in Blacklist lore over 9 seasons where it was play it again, Sam, that moment right there where it was make sure you turn the lights off when you're done contemplating. Mm-hmm. Good night, Raymond. Good night, Harold. I was oh man, it was kind of teared up a little bit. Their actual bromance going on there.
Let's hug it out, man. Let's hug it out. But I really feel did Aram think that Red wasn't going to do something to help Harold out beforehand?
I don't know.
Do you feel Aram forced his hand, he made him act sooner than he wanted to? Or do you feel Red was going to let it play out with the whole taking the deal and everything else? Because I feel that was Red's plan the whole time.
One way or the other, to be honest.
Really?
It's not something that crossed my mind. I think Ram was still oh man, he duped me just like he dupes everybody. He was still wallowing in. I would
have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you meddling kids.
Because if I'm the boss and it's hey, wait, those guys weren't the actual FBI people, and it's oh, and I could have put surveillance video in here and taken their pictures and cross-checked it, and maybe I'm not cut out for the job.
Well, it's a good episode. I really enjoyed it. Of course, this is Easter weekend, so if you're listening to it when we're recording this, so I hope everyone has, if you celebrate, a happy Easter, whatever that means, which is when we celebrate the rising of the Lord by hiding Easter eggs full of candy
with $2 bills inside, which are completely useless.
Totally see the connection. Totally. Totally. The only thing I miss about Easter is my grandma used to. I'm not as Troy's religious. I am not. But my grandma was a devout. My grandfather was a pastor, and my grandmother was very devout. Never without fail. Even as a grown-ass man, did she not make me an Easter basket.
Oh, that's super cute.
Mm-hmm. When she passed away, it was horrible because A, we lost her. She's a wonderful woman. B, I lost my Easter baskets for life. So I've tried to duplicate that. I just don't have the knack. She had that perfect balance where you had a little bit of everything you wanted, plus some fun little plastic egg goodness in there with something hidden in there. I mean, I kind of miss that about Easter.
I mean, for me, I'm not a big Easter person, to be honest. If Easter is the worst holiday ever made because Peeps were invented because of it. And I'm just
I love Peeps. I love Peeps.
Gross. Disgusting. Peeps and candy corn. And oh my God, if I see that Cadbury bunny one more time, I'm pulling out my pellet gun.
See, I like both of those things, and I love Cadbury eggs. God, I love Cadbury eggs. It's just
what
it's
even
like
are
a
they?
Sugar Mountain.
What
Sugar
even
Mountain.
are they?
It's liquid sugar. Well, not even liquid. It's creamy sugar. I don't even know what's in it, but I know it's sugar. That's it. It's literally just sugar.
And I think it's only because I'm bitter because I can't have it. So
why can't you have sugar? Are you diabetic?
Diabetic.
I didn't know that.
Pre-diabetic, yeah.
Hey, you know what? Keep at it. A lot of that stuff you can control by diet.
Probably because I've been sitting in this chair for 9 years.
I don't know if that ever came up, and now I feel really bad that I never asked that question.
It's a recent development, so don't feel bad.
Oh, okay. I'm still going to eat ice cream in front of you and not care.
I'm still going to eat ice cream too. I don't care if I die. So it's taking it away. But you can keep your Cadbury eggs.
Oh, man. Oh, if you can make Cadbury egg ice cream, I think I just died and want to have it. Maybe Peeps ice cream. Oh, somebody's going to be working on that. Make that happen. Make it a little chewy. Chewy ice cream. All right, I want to take a quick second to say thank you to those of you that are supporting the show by going to Patreon. That's Patreon, patreon.com/theblacklistgsm. Special big thanks to our honorary blacklisters, Patricia. Also, a special shout out to our task force members, Marilyn, Cindy, James, Jens, Joanne, Johnny, Justin, Karen, Catherine, members, Sharon, Lacey Ann, all official task force members, and Vanessa. All of these people receive cool gifts from us, and you get a cool gift as well. For donating at the $20 level or higher, you can get a kick-ass t-shirt or coffee mug, and you don't have to stay at that level forever, just a few months to get the cool gifts.
And again, we're putting out the episode for the $5 patrons right after the episode airs. A little bit of a delay last week. Sorry about that. Family stuff comes first. But we will definitely have it out this week for all of you at Patreon, patreon.com/theblacklistgsm. Fill the fedora, throw $5 in the hat, and we'll be back with Special Agent Intel right after this.
Are you sick of the endless, poorly realized remakes as we are? Then take a listen to Remake This Movie Right, where we take a classic movie, figure out what works and what doesn't, throw a dash of humor at it, and then we craft our own remake. So by the end of every episode, we will remake this movie right. Recently featured as a podcast to listen to by the AV Club, you can find us at remakethismovieright.com or your podcast app of choice. Every movie you love will get a remake someday, and only you can make it better.
Hey, this is Amir. I play Aram on The Blacklist, and you are listening to The Blacklist Exposed.
All right. Paul Kakagis, let's just call him Paul. He has a message where he says they make it appear as Marvin is the rat because he had an appointment and he was the one knowing they were about to capture the private investigator. I hope they don't ruin Marvin. Possibly behind all of this is the person that killed Red's real daughter, too, the ballet girl. Yeah, I hate to break it to you. But that was Liz.
Or it was Katerina remembering herself as a small child in the ballet.
Yeah. So there we go.
There we go. Only one this week. So make sure you send in your comments and feedback at goldenspiralmedia.com or over on the Twitter or the Facebook group. Love to hear your thoughts on the show each and every week.
Do you feel like Marvin, it would hurt the show for Marvin to be the guy?
I mean, I think in the case of the story arc and the whole getting the crap beat out of him last year because Red didn't trust him, it seems like that'd be a revenge path that he would be on, very similar to Kaplan's revenge path that we had in season 4. So I don't think it would ruin the show. I think it would be weird. I forget what Marvin's number is. Is he 20 or 30? Because it would have to be a Marvin Gerard conclusion, right? If that were to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Because we already had Marvin Gerard's episode back in season 3, right? That was the, being a ship captain on a ship episode. So
yeah, he was it was season 3. Yes.
Gosh, how can I remember stuff from 6 years ago? That's just what is wrong with my brain.
It was the season premiere, Marvin Gerard.
I think it was actually episode 2.
Number 80. He was number 80 on the Blacklist.
Which seems like that would be kind of a bummer for like a season finale, right? Like, was it number 3?
Well, we still got 2 open, right? Or no, not 2. We got one of the top 10 open.
Yeah, there's like number 3, I think, is still open.
Yeah.
But maybe they have to save that for the end of season 10 since John blew number 1 in season 8.
Okay. I would be fine if it's Marvin Gerard. Just make it interesting. I would love to see him as the villain, as the foe. I think that would be great.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
It'd be fun. Do you want to hear my bicycle story now real quick?
Oh, yeah, that's right. They need to hear that.
Not the listeners want. They always say, we like listening to you guys as much as the Blacklist. All right, so here's an aside. So I took my bike in for my yearly
tune-up,
which is I have a truck bike, and because of that, it's basically a free tune-up every year, right? So I took it in, and I had to get a tire replaced. My tire was shot. It's several years old, and I've been riding on it. How often do you replace your tires? Have you had to replace yours yet?
I've not had to replace them on my new bike because I've only gone 2,000 miles on those tires. So
only. Well, I don't think I'd gone 2,000 miles, but I had to get it replaced. But I also take mine on trails a lot.
Right.
Because I've got a hybrid. But anyway, so took it in, and when I took it in, they said, "Hey, your bike's dirty," which it was because I ride it through trails and stuff. And he's like, "We can get you a bike wash if you want." And I'm like, I mean, I'm not even thinking about it because I had to go. So I'm like, sure, whatever. I mean, probably. Just let me know if when you get to that point, and I'll let you know if I'm good with it. Well, they didn't let me know. So I go to pick it up, and I actually have a meeting because I'm on my lunch hour, and I have a meeting in like 15 minutes. So I only have like 5 minutes running and get my bicycle when I pick it up. So I go to pick it up, and they did clean it. Hey, looks clean, except they didn't wash the damn tire. But that's a whole other thing that I'll complain about some other day. And so I'm like, fine. I mean, hey, it looks newer. That's fine. And I got the new tire and everything else. So I go to pay it, $40 for a bicycle wash.
To wipe the bike down with a cloth?
I swear to God. If I wouldn't have had a meeting, that place would have went nuclear. Because I haven't been that mad, both at myself and someone else, in a very long time. And I'm just looking at him like, $40. This is what I said to the guy. $40. He goes, yeah, that's how much the bicycle wash costs. I'm like, for what? And he goes, soap? Well, for washing the bicycle. I'm like, for what? Picking up a rag and wiping it down? I could have done that. That's what I was going to do. I figured this was like $5. I think it was like going to be $40. Ruined my year. I think my whole year is ruined because of that.
You're going to now physically not ride your bicycle just because you're going to look at it every time and go like, $40. I don't want to get this dirty.
Oh, just on principle, right? I'll never do it again. I mean, I kind of, in my brain, because I had to go so fast, I just chopped it up as, you know what? I've gotten these free tune-ups every year. I'll just take this as I paid for one of those.
It's a one-time gift for you.
Yeah, it's a one-time gift for me. But I'm still mad that the tire wasn't clean. So the bicycle's clean, but the old tire wasn't even rinsed off or anything. I'm like, so you did just take a rag and wipe that shit down. That's all you did. You suck. And you charged me $40 for that? I can wash my whole car and get it detailed, a decent detail for $40. This is a bicycle. It's got one piece. That's it. That's it. Screwed my whole day up. Sorry, everybody. If you didn't want to hear this, but we waited till the end.
Exactly right. And the end is where we're at.
Okay, we're done. That's it. Sorry. That'll conclude this discussion. Now's the time to recommend the Blacklist to your friend, your enemy, your neighbor. You know what you can do? You can write down the blacklistexposed.com on a little piece of paper, hide it in a plastic egg, and hide it in your backyard. Make your kids find it, and they can listen to it. What? There you go. Also, recommendedly, listen and subscribe to the Blacklist Exposed podcast. All the case for profiles can be found at blacklistexposed.com and everywhere great podcasts can be heard.
And you drop your bike off, you can go ahead and leave a little note on there as well, on the slip.
Yeah, next time I'm gonna run it through the front window. That's what I'm gonna do.
Since you have to take your time to fill that $40 because it's by the hour, you can listen to the podcast while you wipe down your bike.
Jesus, somebody just made a mint off me. Just got duped off me. And I'm constantly telling my wife, don't get taken by people. I tell her about that, and she goes, "Oh, don't get taken by people? Don't get taken by people?" Because my wife's kind of naive in some aspects. And she's like, "I don't think you get to tell me that anymore." I'm like, "I don't think I do either." Nope.
Hey, at least you learned. That's the big thing.
Because she never wants to be rude to people when they call her, they come to the door and stuff, and she'll always hear them out. And she's very, very kind and all that stuff. And I'm always like, "No, get out of here, man."
Well, if you want to hear more stories from Aaron, you can follow him over on Twitter. He's at Aaron Smirks. You can want to follow my bike history. I can do at Troy Heinrichs on Twitter, and we are at the Blacklist GSM. Talk about the show, the podcast, or what you got in your Easter basket this weekend. Because Aaron didn't get anything because he doesn't have one anymore. So sad.
Big thanks for listening, guys. Don't forget to answer our profiling question. Who would you rather have in charge, Cooper or Aram? Come on, pick one.
Pick one.
Pick one.
Don't give any write-in votes. Make a decision. Take a stance.
And if you celebrate, have a wonderful holiday.
You too. See y'all. Have a good one.
Bye.
Until next time, I'm Agent Troy Heinritz. That's at Troy Heinritz on Twitter. And if you want to learn more about me, just visit, about.me/Troy Heinritz.
And I'm Agent Aaron Peterson. You can hear me talking about movies and TV on the Hollywood Outsider podcast, as well as Remake This Movie Right. We are available at thehollywoodoutsiders.com or on Twitter at 5popcorn. Be sure to subscribe, download the app, submit your feedback, but most importantly, keep yourself off of the Blacklist.
The Blacklist Exposed is a Golden Spiral Media production. Find more of our great podcasts at goldenspiralmedia.com/podcasts.